Thursday. You going all the way up. I thought you only go up on a Tuesday. It's Thursday.
Thursday. First of all, recording days, like I had me a little sip, a little taste, as they call in the old folk day, a little taste.
You was a little parched. You gotta get a
Yeah,
little thirsty Thursday. Just a little,
just a little taste.
just a little.
That's all.
Knock the edge off from the week.
It's the pre-Friday. That's what some people call it, pre-Friday.
So, like I said, best friend, I had crab legs this week.
Must
I
been stressful.
did. I did. It was. It was.
Must been
I
stressful.
was like,
Yeah.
look, my stress level was going up. I had to get cracking with them crab legs. I had to get it
Let me tell
popping.
you, the best worst advice I ever gave you.
I'm gonna tell
Best
you,
worst advice.
you go to increase my cholesterol because I'm telling you right now, I gotta go for these crabs every time I'm stressed out. I just
And
be
you
like,
know,
look,
the
I'm getting
worst
the
part,
shakes, I'm getting the shakes.
the worst part is I got the nerve to double down and be like, put extra obey on the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta double down.
It's the extra girl. I don't care if it's obey, adobo, sazon. I want all of it. I want
No
all of
spin.
it. I want the seasons. Season. You know how you get to the store,
Real
right?
shit.
They be like, "How you want it? You want a light, medium?" I was like, who you talking
Heavy.
to?"
Heavy. Real
Heavy,
heavy.
heavy. I was like, "Flagerist."
No spin. Heavy. Real heavy. So heavy.
All of the seasonings, all of the seasonings, right? I'm 999. I need it to be like that. I need it to be on and popping.
No, for
Okay,
real. Like when I want my hands to be a different color by the time I'm done.
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I feel so relaxed and rejuvenated
I know we
afterwards.
don't it.
You
It make you
do,
feel like I'm trying to tell you best worst advice I gave you because like I said, the cholesterol, you ain't supposed to do it all the time. Like it's supposed to be a here and there. You
girl. Call
started
me
you,
Ariel.
you started going
Okay,
too far with it though.
I'm eating crab legs like I'm under the sea. Me and
You
Sebastian
started
is
going
friends.
you started going too far. The moment I told you where you can get them from and what you should do, you've been going too far. It be 3 days out of the week
Look,
you can grab.
look, look, look. I be trying to pace out. I be trying to pace it out. I
You got
do.
to.
But my patient worse than for society. We all have to understand this.
I to get back a little better. I try to do mine once a month. I try to break it down with like once a month. That's
Ooh,
I know. Clearly,
girl.
your stress level is here, nigga.
Girl,
Uh,
once a month. I was like, you out there in Maryland with all that good crab, and you talking about once a month.
but you know what? I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's kind of one of those things. Like you know, how we talked about like how New York, y'all got the pizza, right? It's here all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things. Like we eat it so much. Like it's not.
Okay. So what we not gonna do, I just gotta speak to the people real quick. We not gonna compare pizza to crab legs. Crab legs is a
I'm not comparing. No,
delicacy.
no, I'm not comparing. I'm
I
not
feel you.
comparing. I'm just
See,
saying, like, you know how, like, you'll come out here, you're never gonna ask for a pizza out here. You get what I'm saying?
that's a fact.
Like,
That's a fact. That's a
I'm
fact.
never gonna go to. Seriously speaking, I'm never gonna go to another state and ask for seafood. Like, I'd rather eat anything else because I know you're not gonna touch what's happening down here.
That's facts. That's
It's a
facts.
couple places. It's a couple places that that can handle it, but yeah, no. But we eat it so much out here that, like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta take a break on it. So, like I said, my crab leg session, that's for hard days. That's for hard days and hard times where I want to mute the world out. I don't want nobody to talk to me. Like I said, I done went to Giant. I
Look,
done got my crab legs for $7.99 a pound. I done brought them back home, got my little taste, and I want to sit there, put on a good show or a bad show. I don't give a damn. If for all my TV people, because I'm a TVer, a good TV movie, fix your face, a good TV movie. And yeah, I want a whole hour of nobody saying nothing to
look.
me.
I ain't gonna stunt though. I could do some crab legs and some Lifetime. Lifetime got a whole black movie series. I don't know if y'all are on game, but if you like Tubi acting, don't front on Lifetime because you're watching Tubi.
Okay,
All
hear me
right,
out, hear me out, hear me out,
Tammy Roman on both of
hear
them
me out,
things.
hear me out. TV plays Lifetime movies. So hear me out. I have watched a couple Lifetime movies because they have been on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a couple of like The Wrath and Greed, like those. I don't know if you
Right.
watch those.
You got single black female one and two
Mm-hmm.
and four and five. All of
I
those.
watched everyone.
You got lust, revenge. Like you
I
said, the
watched
seven
all
deadly
those.
sins. Look.
Let me tell you right now, all because they were on TV though. They were all on TV. They were all on TV. That's how I
See, you
ended
know
up
what's
watching them.
crazy? You'll watch them on Tubi, but you don't watch them on BT. We got to talk to people about that. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sometimes things hit a little harder on Tubi.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Um, to watch certain stuff on BET, you have to have a subscription. Like, I feel like TV never served me wrong. I like some of the up and coming people. I have a lot. You know, how people be like, "Oh, I love Denzel and them." I got a couple TV actors and actresses that I love to see when they play on something. So yeah, that's me
When you
though.
start having your favorite to be actors and actresses, that's how
I
you know you
do.
deep in.
I do. I'm deep. Denzel with two L's. Yeah, I'm deep. I'm deep.
Denzel, our brother
Yeah,
Denzel,
Denzel,
because he already took
Denzel,
Denzel.
Denzel, Denzel,
This
Denzel. Yeah, I see you know something.
let me tell you something right now. I was calling Lawrence Fishburne Larry, and everybody, my whole family is like, his name is London. Y'all got to know the real. When you get celebrity familiar, it's Larry. Okay. But yes, folks, if y'all haven't already realized, we're back.
Yes, ma'am.
Your favorite Bronx and Baltimore besties, you know, your girl, Miss Well and Woke, and kicking it with my homie as always.
Lady A Savage
Tell y'all right now, calling all royals.
and calling all real ones.
Okay, we need y'all to get turned with us this time because we got to speak to the people. Everybody coming a little close. School's in session. It's time for the class.
Mm-hmm.
So, friend, I got a little question for you, right? So I saw this thing on social media, and it's crazy because I had a family discussion around Benito Bowl around this real quick. If y'all wasn't there, y'all should have been there. Benito Bowl was bachata. We was out there. But anywho, so we were talking about Tracy Morgan and how he ran into somebody that he knew when he was growing up out in the street. And it was a guy who was asking him for money. Like, yo, like Tracy, I'm out here struggling on the street. I'm homeless. Can I get a few dollars to get something to eat? If Tracy Morgan could have slapped this man's hand away, he was like, nah, bro, why is that my problem? But the reason why he said that to this gentleman is because he felt like this was a guy who bullied him when he was a kid. So he was like, I don't feel like I owe that person who used to bully me none of my money. Now I mean, I know how you get down, I know how I get down, but talk to me, friend. How would you have felt in that situation? Because I was waxing and waning.
Here's how I feel. I legitimately just had a conversation with somebody recently of something similar, where pretty much somebody did me crazy, right? And then they kind of asked for my help later on down the line. Ask for my help. Here's how I take it. How dare I do God a disservice and help somebody that God spit the bin on to let them know don't play about this person? I cannot do my God like that. Because here's the thing, when you are down and stuff got hard and this, that, and the third, people who play with you and certain people God don't play about. And if somebody plays with me and God went and spent the bin and did a drive by on you, how dare I come back to come help you after God and looked out for me? I can't do nothing for you, brother. I ain't got nothing for you. You want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be completely honest here, right? So I've had this thought in my mind before. I was like, what would you do if you ever got to the point in your career or in your life where, like, you know what I'm saying, it's like mansions in Beverly Hills? I said, what would you ever do if you ran into somebody that you just didn't have a healthy relationship with? Like, it was
Hmm.
like F you on sight. And I did say to myself, if you were down and out on your luck, and I know that I'm blessed, I could throw a dollar in that cup. I would have threw a dollar. I would have threw probably exactly 4 quarters in that cup. I'm not gonna hold you.
Okay.
Because like I said, God does put it on my heart because I'm gonna make sure that you eat, right? I'm not gonna say you're gonna eat as well as I'm eating. I'm not gonna throw no steak on your cup. I'm not about to go treat you and hook you up in no hotel. We ain't gotta do all of that. But I'm gonna throw a little dollar in the cup. You know
So
what I'm
God
saying?
told you to throw 4 quarters. God told me I didn't see you.
I like, I'm just saying because I look at it at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't block my blessing because I did something for you in that moment. Because then it also speaks to the heart, right? You were an asshole, and I could always rise above however you treated me. Whatever you did to me. Now I'm gonna say this. There are certain people, and this is the old expression, they say that you wouldn't spit on certain people if they were on fire, depending on what they
Hmm.
did to you. There are exceptions to the rule. There are
Hmm.
definitely exceptions to the rule. I don't play with anybody who's ever caused me harm or caused my family harm. Like, you lucky I don't roundhouse kick you if you ask me for something.
But
But
my
if
thing
it's
is,
one of
I
those
don't feel.
situations where we just wasn't cool, and you outside shaking the can like, sis, like I need a sandwich or something. I'm not, like I say, I can at least drop 4 quarters, 10 dimes. You know what I'm saying? Like I can make change.
My thing is, I don't feel like I'm blocking my blessing by not helping you. What I feel like is God wanted to show me that I came and got him. That's how I feel. I feel like God wanted to show me I came and got him. Because sometimes I ain't gonna lie, people will do you so wrong that it will have you feeling like it's no way this person out here living their best life. It's no way this person out here just going along with life like everything is cool. And you be wanting to give them yourself. Sometimes you want to give them
I'm
yourself,
saying.
and people like, no, leave it, put it in God's hands, let it be where it is. Okay, cool. And I feel like sometimes God lets you rerun past people for you to be like, okay, so he did come get you. And like I said, how
Pretty.
dare I? How
It's
dare
the
I come?
I thought I was 50 cent petty, but you just said Jesus has receipts. And when he sent you the
Hey,
receipts,
okay. That's what I
like
was saying. How dare I? How dare I come back? And I feel like you said, I don't feel like I'm blocking my blessing by God showing me I came and got him. Now keep on walking, sis. Keep on walking.
but you know what? I think that the situation changed because had this been you and I, and it's like a regular interaction out on the street, nobody knows how you
Nobody
respond.
would care.
Like I said,
Yeah.
if I could have hopped and skipped over this person and kept pushing to my car, then there's a difference. But because Tracy Morgan was in the public eye, it did make it
Hmm.
very different because we're not talking about somebody who has a few thousand or a few million. This is somebody who, after experiencing a car accident, like Tracy Morgan was packed up in a box, after being injured, came across a lot of money. And to me, it appeared to people like, why couldn't he have done just a little bit of something, right? Despite whatever happened in the past. And like I said, I don't know how bad it was. The dude could have kicked his dog, punched his mama, and robbed him every day he went to school. It could have been that bad. Like I said, harm is one of those things where that takes it off the table. You cause me
They
or my
try
loved ones harm, I have a completely different vibe on that one.
they try to make him be the bigger person because it it takes a really big person for you to be, but like you said, you don't know what the background story is. So you
Hmm.
don't know what that man could have did to him for him to be like, fuck you. Like, no, like you don't know what that man did to him. Like,
Yeah,
nah.
it is crazy because if you see the video, I just wonder if y'all haven't seen it. He like, yo, I remember you, like the way his face, his whole demeanor changed. And that's
That
okay.
man
You
probably
ever,
tortured him.
let me say this. Have you ever come across somebody from the past that just changed your whole demeanor simply because they approached you knowing the old version of yourself, not this new person? Like they don't know me by my Christian name right now.
Let me
And
tell you
they
something.
just shifted your energy a little bit.
My demeanor changed when other people bring up people that I know don't know my Christian name. If other people bring up people that don't know my Christian name, my face change. My whole persona just switches up.
I feel like I've evolved into a space where if somebody brings up somebody from the past that I no longer have a connection to, it don't rattle my cage. Like I said, unless you done direct harm to me. And when I say direct harm, it got to be in a physical nature. But otherwise, there's no love lost because, like you said, God does everything for a reason. And he's out here protecting, moving, and shaking and shifting around me because he don't play about your girl. So I
Mm.
honestly do feel when somebody brings somebody up, I just attribute it to a time, a place, a situation, or a memory. And I don't hold it close to my heart. Like I really don't. Like I'm at that point where people mentioning people or certain things doesn't have any power on me. And I'm like, and I love that. That space because I know that that is true growth for me, right? But I do
Yes,
feel like
ma'am.
this when somebody relates something that I used to do or used to say, or somebody I used to be around, and they bring it back into my present space, like associating it with my character or my actions, I don't play like that.
Because
Because if
sometimes people want to make remind you of who you were. And it's like I'm in the now. You can't remind me who I was. And granted, we all have past, and it's nothing wrong. It's not saying we ashamed of it or we don't,
not at
none of
all.
that. None of that. But that's not who am today though. Like
Because the girl is not the woman, and that's the difference. How you approach
Mm-hmm.
the girl is not how you can approach the woman, and it's two different people that you are meeting, right? We evolve as we get older. We turn into new versions of ourselves. The core of who we are, like I said, is always at the base. So I was a real one back then. I'm a real one now. I was royalty back then. I'm royalty now. So that's just the reality. But I don't like people approaching you with certain things from the past because you don't know what could also be a trigger to someone, right?
That's right.
I bring up something like I ran into a ex situation like a few years ago, and the person comes up to me while I'm in the gym. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. First and foremost, if you ever see me in the gym and I'm lifting weights, don't roll up on me if you're not the right one. Okay.
There you go. Dead. Go
It was
ahead.
almost it was almost like first
All
28.
depends.
It was almost consequences and repercussions. But they rolled up on me and they said something like, yo, how you been doing? All right, cool, not a problem. I was like, I'm living good, cool. How you? I'm going back to my workout. They were like, man, yo, I remember some of the people that you used to go with. Y'all was some ghetto girls. Words that I don't play with. Ghetto, ghetto, ghetto. Excuse me.
Nobody
Is
likes
this
to get
weight?
over it.
Right? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't remember having more interaction with you after a certain point in life. I was like, did you talk to me after like age 14? Right? Or something? And the person was saying to me, like, oh, I'm just saying, like, it went on a whole rampage and whole history. We're in a public setting, there's
Yeah.
other people around. You don't know who I'm with. And then not only are you attacking my character, you're attacking the character of people that I grew up with, and you don't know anything about those people, right? Keep those opinions stored in your memory bank. Sit on that in your mind. I have never greeted another individual about what I thought about them from the past, what I knew about them in the past, or what I experienced in the past. Because I know that when you meet people in the present, people are a new version. So I was just like, yeah, I was like, you coming at me that way just shows a level of immaturity. Like there was no reason to even approach me on that type of time. Good day, sir.
Not good
They
day,
kept
sir.
trying. They kept trying to talk. No, no, I said good day. Like,
No, because I ain't gonna lie, that's mad wild. But people be surprised how many times that will happen where like somebody from your past will roll up on you and act like it's still that time frame of the time when they roll up on you, they'll still think it's like 2010. No, it's not 2010.
it's
No,
not
baby.
2010, and
But
you
they
don't
will roll
want
up
it to
on you and
be.
act like it though.
Yeah,
They will
you
roll up on you
don't
and act
want
like
it to
it.
be 2010 though either. You don't want to trigger me to the point where it is 2010 and I have to come outside of myself. That's to let people manifest in new spaces and
Like you
continue their
said,
growth journey.
the girl is not the woman. Like you said, the girl is not the woman. When you back then, I was moving a certain way, and then that was different. But people really roll up on you and act like, oh, it's still back then. Nah, I don't. I barely know you now. I don't even know who you is. Who are you again? What's your whole?
Ex- And that's how, honestly, I think that's how we should approach people. If you haven't seen somebody in 2, 3, 5, 10+ years, introduce yourself again.
All over, all over
Introduce
him.
yourself all over again. They may have an idea of you, they may have met you before, but introduce yourself again. Let's
Let me
not
tell you.
believe that we're picking up with people in the same space that we left them because that's not necessarily the case.
I tell my cousin all the time. Well, I'm like, look, if you don't talk to me at least every 3 months, I'm gonna forget who you is. So at this point, you gotta call me at least once every 2 weeks or so for you to stay in the memory bank. Cause after about 3 months, who is that? Sierra. Who is Sierra? Where we see Sierra at? You gotta retell me a
Look,
person.
I'm not even gonna lie,
Oh,
that's how I answer my phone. I'd be like, hi, like Miss Such and Such speaking. People be like, hey, you know, hi,
who?
Miss Such and Such speaking. And you called?
I'm telling you all the
To whom do
time.
you wish to speak? And I know
All
you
the
from?
time.
Oh, okay. Yes, reintroduce yourself. Reintroduce yourself to people. If there is not a consistent relationship, yes, I do feel like it's appropriate to re-engage people and get to learn who you're talking to now. And I think
Facts.
that that's a missing skill that people lack out here is that they tend to jump back into conversations or re-meet people and assume that they're the same person that they last saw or
At
last
different
spoke
times.
to.
But that's because you're still the last person I saw. Like, you're still that person. That's why you think I'm still that person, because you are
Mm.
still in your current space still. You were still in 2010. That's why you came and thought that I was supposed to be that person. Meanwhile, you have not grew up at all. You are still doing the same things you were doing when I knew you back then.
So let's talk about it, right? Because I think that that is a big thing when it comes to people, right? You may be secretly hoping that somebody is still stuck in the same space. Like
Yeah,
people will celebrate your struggle before they celebrate your evolving nature. And so I feel like that's just one of those pieces, right? When you approach somebody, you're hoping you can still get access to that same old
yeah,
version of a person, because who that new person is, you can't sit next to, you can't
you
get
can't.
with, right? You don't understand. And
Yeah, no,
so,
that happens all the time. That's why it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't want to say when it comes to men or whatever, but it's kind of one of those things where they'd be like, "Oh, he wants to see if you're still a fool." Sometimes people want to see if you're still in that same place, if you're still in that same situation, that same mindset. Where like, has she grown up? Has she healed? Has she did all these things? Yes. So you're trying to bring up old times, and yes, sometimes we reminisce and we talk about the old. That's cool, like you said, depending on the setting that we're in. That's cool. That's fine. Whatever. But I'm not that person today. If you thought that we was about to do all the dumb, crazy stuff that we were doing back then today, Bookie.
and I have so much peace within myself around that, right? Like, I think that that's what you have to get to. When you
Yes,
grow
ma'am.
up, it's beautiful. I love seeing people grow up. Anytime I've come across anybody from the past and I see them emerge into these new people and they're doing well in life, this is all I can do for those people, because I feel like that's how we're supposed to celebrate one another. That's the
That's a
genuine
fact.
love that I have for other Black people, is I root for our growth and our elevation, our upward mobility. It can only be love when you see people grow into a new version of themselves.
I love the growth because the fact of the matter is, some people are stuck, but if you get unstuck, you'll realize you can be all those things in one person. Some people are stuck in, like you said, the party era or the, oh, we still doing crazy stuff era. When you hit a certain level of growth and healing, I can be a little bit of everything. It's like the multi-purpose friend. I can be at the club, I can be at the church, I can be at the museum, I can be at the praise dance concert, I can be at all, because it's like you are at a growth level where I can be everything, and it's peaceful and it's me and it's healing and it's whatever. But I'm
Facts.
not stuck in just being one thing anymore. I'm not stuck in just being this one person, this soul, struggle or whatever I was doing back then when I was just out here doing anything. I
I
didn't
think
open up.
I agree. I think being multifaceted is a part of life, right? I'm supposed to enjoy myself in different ways. What I
Yes.
didn't do when I was younger, let's say if you didn't know when to go home when you were younger, you know when to go
You know
home now,
now. You know
right?
now.
So, like, you don't got to be the last one at the
I'm gonna tell you
function.
something
It's
now.
a difference. It's a difference. And that's how
I'm
you know somebody has grown up, right? And they've gone to the next
dead.
phase. You look at things through different lenses. We spoke about this in our last episode, the difference between saying, hey, I used to run with a team of 30,000, and right now, if it's a solid 10, is because you've been able to grow up and reevaluate how you manage your company
You gotta
and
learn the
who gets
concept.
close and who gets to have access to you, and changing from friends to associates to hello, stranger. Like, this different is who, right? So it's different levels of it.
It is. But I feel like we talked about it in that aspect. But in a way, sometimes I feel like when it comes to people that are around you now in the current cannot respect your growth either. How do you feel about that?
It's time to hand out walking papers. Okay. No,
I'm
I
glad you're
had this
learning.
conversation. I had
I'm
this
glad you're learning.
conversation several times this week, right? I had this conversation with male friends, female friends, and we were talking about people feeling like they couldn't find their tribe. They just weren't
Mhm.
connecting to people in the same way because their likes had shifted and what their experiences were different than some of their peers. We're all moving in different directions at different times in life. Nobody is walking the same path at the same exact time, right?
Facts.
So when I was having this conversation, the person was basically saying to me, like, hey, Some of my friends have kids. Some of my friends are married. Some of my friends are still broke and dusty. And they were like, and basically, I'm trying to figure out how do I enter into a new space where I find like minded folks. I don't want
Mhm.
anybody to feel indifferent towards me because I'm growing and I'm shifting how I do things, how I think, and the experiences that I want to have. And I had to say, everybody can't go with you. Sometimes you have to shift your company. Sometimes you got to go alone. And
Mm.
going alone allows for you to find the people that are meant to be in your circle moving forward. And I was like, and the people that came across you in the past, it shouldn't be a love loss. If they're mad that you're interested in new, exciting things or doing new, exciting things, that's a teachable moment. They don't have your best interest.
So I'll tell you like this. I was talking to somebody one time and they gave me some of the realest advice, and I never, you know how you realize it now or whatever. At the time I didn't realize it, but as you know, time went on, I started to realize it. Like that same situation. You got your broke friends, you got the friends that are here, you got all these different friends. So I was hanging with a certain group of people, and pretty much they were like, you either gonna have to let them go or build them up to where you are. Because if you keep hanging around these people, they're going to end up bringing you down if you don't find a way to elevate them with you. You're moving in a certain light, in a certain path, where if you don't start to pull them with you and show them the way and bring, like, do what you gotta
See,
do,
look,
elevate them, do what you gotta do. But if you don't start doing that, they're going to end up bringing you down because
hold
they're
on.
here, you're here. And I never understood that. Like, I at the time I was kind of like, you know how you think like, oh, but like as I started seeing how things were going with those group of people, I started realizing that's some of the best advice that a person could have ever gave me.
Let me tell you something right now. I felt that way. I used to. I was like flag on play. I was like throwing up X's right now. Cause
Mhm,
I used to feel like it was my due diligence to help elevate other people into a new
mhm,
space, to expose them to new cultural things, to take them out of their ailment, to give them the benefits of good advice, to show them another way of how to get it. I used to feel like that was my
mhm.
obligation. It's not.
And
By
that.
being in proximity with people who are naturally changing and evolving and they want positive things for themselves, when you are in a circle with people like that, you see it. They radiate a certain energy. And I
Mhm,
think that that should wake up a certain thing in a person that says, hey, you know what? I want to do better by myself. I want to change certain things. I want to approach life in a new way, right? I shouldn't have to tell you. I shouldn't
mhm.
have to hold up the mirror to your face, right? If
You
you're
should.
not happy with the things that are going on in your life, or maybe you are complacent and you feel like everything is going well. But if the friend next to you is like, hey, man, we've been doing the same thing for the last couple of years. If I don't shift this, I don't feel like I'm going to be successful or happy, right? Engage in those types of conversation. If that doesn't shake the table enough for you to do something different in your life, then to me, I'm not going to make it my obligation to change you. Like I'm not going to lean into your own. I'm not going to keep pouring into your cup. You got to want that for yourself.
My thing is, I didn't feel like it's my obligation, but I think what the person, well, actually, because that's exactly what they said. What they were pretty much saying is, you know, how with certain friend groups or whatever, you build a love for that friend. You know, we talked about it.
Mhm.
High regards for the friends. So you
Yep.
build a certain kind of love. So they pretty much were saying, like, I know you love these people. So if you love these people, if you don't have the strength to help them and make them better, you're going to have to let them go or whatever the case may be. So it was one of those things I had to sit with, and it wasn't until, like I said, certain situations started happening where I'm like, wow. And like we talk about all the time, I can lead you to the water, baby, but I can't make you drink or
Hmm.
whatever. So with certain friends, granted, if I know something, i.e., me and you are friends, if I know something that can help you, I will tell you, I will do this, that, and the third,
Facts.
and you can do what you
Hmm.
want with that, or whatever the case may be. So I understood what the person was saying, but in the moment, it was hard to accept that I knew eventually I was going to have to really let them people go because I really had a real connection, a real bond, a real friendship, I thought, with these people. And I was like, wow, I'm really going to have to sit up here and cut the ropes. And that's the reality that you have to sit with sometimes. And sometimes you have to cut the ropes on people that you really been like, yo, I've been riding with these people. I've been holding these people down.
Yeah, and I think that's because you're entering a danger zone, right? Like after a while,
Mhm.
if they don't decide to move and grow on their own, then there's some level of resentment that people can start to harbor towards you. And I had a conversation with somebody one time that was so wild, right? Like we're just sitting around watching TV, hanging out, and they said something like, "Man, no matter how many times you fall, you just always get up winning. Just look at you." And it wasn't like that pat on your back, like, yo, you've been knocked down and look at you getting up winning. It was like, you just always winning, aren't you? And you listen to how
It was like
people
a you
say
mad.
things.
It was like a you mad,
Yeah,
ain't you?
I
You
was like,
mad.
so in that moment, you can't be in my space. I don't know. I was ready to pray, sage everything out of my space because I was like, literally, whatever you are feeling towards me in that moment has less to do with me and more to do about yourself. You ain't mad at me. You ain't frustrated with me, but you're projecting that energy onto me. And that's problematic because I'm not going to let it sully my mood and my growth. But what you should do is challenge yourself. If you feel like you're tired of watching somebody win, you don't got to throw salt in a
Mhm.
game, right? Take it as an opportunity to learn or either ask questions. How is it that you're moving how you moving? Because I could take some advice or maybe learn from this situation. And if not from me, go find you a mentor. Go find somebody that you connect with that you don't mind receiving positive advice from so that you can work on getting to your winning season. But you
That's
should
right.
never judge or salt somebody else's situation.
No. But you know what's crazy? I'll take it a step further. Sometimes it's not even just the people that we feel are friends. So I had somebody who was telling me a story, and they were pretty much saying that they were talking to a family member of theirs, right? And some situation played out, whatever. So what happened was one of the kids said, "Oh, we look up to this person, right? Like when we grow up, we want to be like this person." And it was the
Hmm.
person I was talking to. So the other person says to them, which is a family member, "Oh, you think you're better." Like, oh, they pretty much they need to learn how to struggle like we did. Like I struggle, they need to learn how to struggle because this, that, and the third. And they were like, "What?" The whole point in life is to sit up here and to be better so that they don't have to struggle, so that they can be better than us. You want them to be on the same, and granted, they weren't, the person I was talking to isn't really a struggler or whatever case may be, but they were saying in general, the whole point is to be better. So they were saying as a family member, they felt bad because they felt like this family member was not happy for them in the fact that they were moving into this path of like healing and growing and just being better. And I
Let
was
me,
like,
let me
that's crazy. So they said the family was like, "You think you're better." And I said, "I hate to say this. You should have been like, 'cause I am." Sometimes you have to stand on business and say, "Because I am
let me
better."
say
And that's the
this.
point.
Uh,
And guess what? The kids and everybody is going to be better than me because I want them to look at me one day and be like, "You know what? And I'm okay with that." If I had a child and they looked at me and been like, "Hey, I'm making more money than you," and not in a way like that, but like I'm making more money. I didn't think this, that, and the third. Good, because that's the goddamn goal.
Because when we speak about betterment, we're not just talking about financially, we're talking about health, everything. Like
Health,
I'm
wealth,
doing better. I'm setting a
everything.
positive example. And but I also say this, our legacy as people of color is not rooted in struggle. Struggle is not your legacy. Your family does not have to go through seven more generations of struggle. I think that so
You
many
know?
people feel like it's a part of life that like you're supposed to have just for you to grow as a person. I think that everybody has to have an up and down type of experience in life to really understand like life doesn't come without challenges, it doesn't come without pain or obstacles, and it does make you better when you do have to overcome something, but struggle isn't the thing that we're all supposed to be signed up for. So I hate when people get involved with children, they're like, you're supposed to get it out the mud. Everybody does not have to sit up there, get it out the mud and pull themselves up by the bootstraps. If you worked hard for your family to have a better life and better experiences, that's the benefits of pouring into the next generation. And I
And you
feel
know,
like somebody having that attitude towards upward mobility is crazy. I call that crabs in a barrel at its finest, right? Why would you want somebody younger not to look up towards somebody who's doing something positive? We ain't talking about dope boys. We ain't talking about pushers. We ain't talking about killers. Because sometimes that's who the young ones is looking up to when they're meeting everyday people who are like, you own your home. You drive a decent car. You go to work every day. You pay your bills on time. You don't duck the creditors because there's money in the
Mhm.
account, right? When kids see those things and they aspire to that, there should be no hate in somebody's heart. And if you don't feel like you're that thing that's worth your children looking up to, then go out there and do something different.
Yeah, it's some stuff I would love to tap on with that, but that's a whole different topic we gonna tap on. But I think what happened was what bothered the person the most in telling the story was that in their head, it's a family member that is pretty much hating on me. That pretty much is like cannot accept my success. And I think that's what bothered the person the most.
You see what's going on with Glorilla. I don't know if you've seen all of the tea
Yes.
around that. Glorilla versus Brorilla, whatever was going on. But her family member. And it's like some people, and everybody may have one or maybe even two in their family. There's always going to be somebody who becomes some level of successful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you saw that for them or they knew it was going to happen within themselves or the family poured into that person, however it comes about, somebody's going to be successful. And everybody feels like it's their obligation in the beginning to help out different family members. I'm going to make sure the family good, aunties, uncles, cousins, mom, pop, whoever held it down for you and you feel comfortable holding it down for. What's unfortunate about a lot of people is they take advantage. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want me to teach you to fish. You want me to give it to you, fry it up, gut it, clean it, saute it, and you want to serve it a different way every day. And that's unrealistic, right? So instead of using the opportunity to build and grow, that whole situation where Glorilla, she was saying, look, I took care of my moms. I took care of my pops. I put money in my family's pocket. Some of my family got the benefits of living with me, but I'm not going to let nobody salt me or drag me down or use my name for clout to sit there and get a bag because they don't want to work for the bag, but they want to use my name to ride on a bag or embarrass me or take something away from me that technically takes away from our entire family. Like, I thought it was so crazy, but she's not the first person in the industry to experience that. She's not the first person walking the street down the street to experience that. There are
No.
people that
Because
as soon as they
my
see
thing is
you
this.
with a little piece of something, they want access to it.
Like you said, they want access, or you sit up here, as soon as I get a little bit of something, a little bit of fame, a little bit of money, then my name is in your mouth now. Now you want to sit up here and talk about, oh, how this, and this. Don't do that either. The fact of the matter is, like you said, when certain people get money, yes, it's some people we're gonna look out for. Like you said, we're gonna look out for mama, we're gonna look out, daddy, whoever. We're gonna look out for certain people. But I don't owe you anything. People think people owe people stuff all the time. I don't owe you
Mm.
anything. Just because we are family, we are whatever, I don't owe you anything. The same way you ain't feel like you owe me respect, now you feel like I owe you my money. The same way you feel like you didn't owe me truth, you feel like I owe you my money.
Let me tell you something. So
You ain't
I
owe
was
me
listening to
loyalty,
the
but I owe you my money now. We ain't been talking in
like
5 years. I owe you my money now.
let me tell you right now, like, so you know how like I love the rapper the baby, right? Despite some of the
Yes,
controversy that
we
surrounds
know.
him. And the career was doing good, and then the career kind of fell down. Like you said, he was doing shows for $2. Now he back in the
Shoot
industry
out
and
shows.
he dropped
Shoot
it.
out shows.
You know what I'm saying? And he dropping an album and he spoke to this in his music. He was like, man, everybody was down when things were going good. Like the amount of people who show you love when you putting money on their books, bills and babies when you doing all of that stuff and you taking care of family and taking care of the hood. But he said the minute that things started to dwindle for him, he was like, everybody cut and run. Oh no, I don't know him no more. Like he ain't doing too
No,
good no
no.
more. I don't see the chains no more. People start to change up and they switch up on you. I'm not going to go for broke for nobody. I'm not going to give my resources, funds, and or connections to anybody who I know is not going to turn it into more funds, more resources, and opportunities for somebody else. Like I said, the whole idea is if I'm doing a trickle down effect, I'm pouring downward into the next person so they can pour downward into the next person and so on and so forth. But me just giving it and it stops here. Like I just give
Mm-hmm.
you the money, you go do wild stuff, and there's no other
I know.
opportunity foster from it. I was like, that's weak. I'm not doing that. And I think that that's what people have to have real conversations with their family. If I give you something and I give you a start and you don't do nothing with it, I
That's
heard
when
50
you.
Cent on that tip when it came to his son. I'm hearing
That's
like
when
a
you.
lot of people say that it's on you.
I tell people
You
all the time.
squandered the
Sometimes
opportunity.
when you know your family, you know some people don't need money in their hands. Where it's like, hey, look, you may want a better living situation. I'll just go ahead and get you the better living situation. Everybody don't need money in their hands. Don't think that you gotta sit here and put money in everybody's hands all the time. You don't.
Learned that back in the day. They used to say when you see someone on the street struggling and they ask for money, it's better to say, "Do you need something to eat?" than to give them $5. Are you hungry? Come on, I'm gonna take you into the grocery store. I'll buy you some groceries. I'll buy you a meal. But if I put money in your hand and it ends up causing you more harm or you're mishandling these finances, it wasn't worth it. I'd rather feed you. I'd rather nourish you and make sure that you're good. And I was
Exactly.
like, and I have such a respect for people who do it in that way because it's a lesson that's taught behind it. This is what you prioritize. Like money may look like a lot of things to a lot of people, but the reality of it is if I give you money, I'm hoping that you're going to take this and continue to build. Do something positive with it. Pay it forward in some type of way.
Facts. But my thing is, like I said, I just wish sometimes people would get out the mindset with like nobody wants to have to say I'm like I said, nobody really thinks they're better, right? Granted, I could be in a better situation. I could be in a better, whatever. But nobody's trying to say that. But it's not till you put me in a situation that makes me feel like I have to say it. So even like I had a best friend, and I swear, sometimes it do be your own family. I hate to say it, it do. I had a best
Hmm.
friend, and she has three sisters. I have a best friend. And I tell people all the time, I feel like it's a dynamic when it comes to three sisters. When you have three sisters, I feel like it's always a dynamic. And I said, you always have one that's
Baby girl,
you
I
have
got three sisters, so I know.
yes. So I tell people all the time when it comes to the three sisters, it's a dynamic, right? You have the successful one, you have the one that's right in the middle, like they not struggling, they not doing bad, but they ain't doing the greatest. And then you have the one that's off the goddamn rails. That's the three sister dynamic. So for her, she's the successful one. But her mother was treating all the other ones like they were so much better. You know what I mean? So she called and, they were talking or whatever. And pretty much the mother tells her, like, oh, you think you're better because you have your 2 degrees and you think you're better because you're out here trying to go for this and you think you're better because you have money, you live in your own apartment, like all type of stuff. And I'm like, it makes you want to bite your tongue off to be like, but I am. But I am. And you want to take it from me. You want to take it from me that I am. Because here's the thing I am winning. And why, as a parent, why, as a sibling, you just can't be happy for me and say, I am winning. I am
but
doing, yes,
but you
you're
know what?
doing something.
Because I'm gonna say
But
what it
then
is,
if
right?
I get like you said, if I get the money, now you ready for me to sit
But
up here
you
and say,
but you know what
here's
it
something
is?
though.
It's because even though somebody is a parent, they're still human and it challenges their humanness. This is the reality.
But I'm
I
not
learned this from an
challenging
old
you, it's
coworker.
your
Look,
kids.
I learned this from an old coworker and I hold to this. When somebody is doing well, it makes people think about all of this shoulda, couldas, and wouldas. Their sacrifices, their losses, their W's versus their L's. And they
I get
start
that.
comparing themselves to other people.
But I'm gonna tell you right now.
And that happens in families, it happens in relationships. It happens with friends. It happens in people start to compare themselves to other people and build up these negative feelings towards others based off of somebody's success. Success can be a positive and an ugly word to some.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you right now though, I do feel like as because we're technically millennials, right? I feel like as millennials, I feel like we are definitely kind of like that starting to healing journey, right? Where we're trying to be woke, we're the woke healing journey. We're trying to, do certain stuff. I don't have kids, but I have a godson. If he came up to me and was doing better than me, bless your little heart. Because as you should. I don't feel bad because you sat up here and you worked hard, you did what you were supposed to do, and you better than me. I don't feel bad for that. I will never knock you for being better than me. I will never knock you for making more money than me. You ain't gotta hear me complain, you ain't gotta hear me do none of that. If anything, I wanna put you in a position that you can be. That is the goal. The goal is to make your kids, like I say, if you don't have kids, God kids, nieces, nephews, whatever you got, the goal is to make the youth better than you. Because at the end of the day, they have to move on and they're gonna be us. And everybody, that's how stuff keeps on rolling. And that's why they say all the time, like when it comes to other, nationalities, wow, sometimes we're behind because we hold ourselves back so much when it comes to that. We hold ourselves back, we hold our kids back. No, the goal is for you to be better. Generational wealth, everything else. The goal is for you to be better. So I'm not gonna feel bad if you out here and you said, "Yeah, I got 2 degrees. I went and got my doctorates." Oh, baby, stun on me, Bookie,
And
stun
that's why
on
I
me.
feel like people, you got to do that inner work. And I'm always going to say this, no matter how many episodes we have, that is a part of the healing journey in itself. If you find that somebody's success is troubling for you, or you feel like you should be entitled to their wealth, to their access, and you should be able to get whatever they have, if that's an internal feeling that you are starting to have, do something different. Change
That's
your
right.
life. Ain't nothing wrong with that person. Change your trajectory, right? Start
Mm-hmm.
working on your own upward mobility plan. And I think that's the thing that people have to start to challenge themselves with more, right? Stop watching other people, watch your own clock, create your own plan, work on your own goals. And whatever success looks like for you is what it looks like for you. You can't measure what somebody else is doing and say, hey, well, how come they get to do this? If you're not musically inclined, right? And somebody in your family becomes a singer, but you don't sing. What you bad that they singing for? That's their gift. That's what they were blessed with. If somebody in your family is good at handling finances or buying property, that's their gift. That's their blessing, right? But if they give you an opportunity to get access to some of that money, go use it towards your gifts and create your own blessings, right? Build on that. Too many people watch other people, like you said. I like to watch people who say things like big shot, Hollywood, high roller.
Got
If
your
you throw
gold
too
in the
many of
body.
those, right? When people be like, oh, you just so smart.
Oh, this is a
You
nice
just
house.
so, right? When people do too many of those little dip backs, little shoulder rolls, when they
Yeah, I had
talking
to
to
do
me,
it.
I instantly reevaluate and reassess. I have to tell myself, like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it.
Facts.
It's not always just what you say, it's how you said it, the tone you said it, your posturing when you said it. That shows me everything that I need to know about somebody. And we got to come to that. Look, my little, see, look, and it knocked my hat off. Look,
Oh
that's
yeah.
how
Oh,
it
I
really
say
was in the
the hat
poem.
that got taken off. So,
The
friend,
hat got
the hat,
taken off.
you know what that tells me? It's savage question time. The hat got taken off.
Right? Blew my hat off, right?
Put your hat
Okay.
on.
Savage
So,
question time.
savage question time. Let me ask you this. When did having boundaries become switching up?
Having boundaries became switching up for other people when it impeded upon them getting what they want from you. When you no longer have the
Mhm.
ability to access my money, my time, my energy, or take up any mental space in my head, that's when it became a problem. I realized that when I started saying no to people, that's when it became an issue. When I started to utilize my no's more frequently, it was like, I never thought this person would say no to me. Why? The audacity. I realized that audacity is extremely high for a lot of people.
It's on
Extremely high.
sale at the flea market. Buy
It
one, get
must
one
be.
free.
It must be.
I tell you all the time, it's on sale at the flea market. Buy one, get one free. And people got the nerve to be stealing it.
And the reality is, some people are such poor, like boundary testers. They have to continue to push their luck with everybody that they meet. So you can't just infringe on one person, you're infringing on multiple people. So at a certain point, you get tired of hearing no all across the board because you burned every bridge you came across.
Hmm.
So you're not going to take it out on me because I set up a wall to protect myself. Learn that you can, you get one too many favors and that's it. everybody has a stopping point. Everybody has an end game where they're like, you know what, I cannot let somebody continue to come into my space and harp on all of my blessings or ride my coattail because they don't want to go out in the world and depend on themselves.
Feel like it becomes switching up when I put me first too. Sometimes people don't understand, and it happens across the board, right? Where like you have to put yourself first, and sometimes when you put yourself first, people feel like it's switching up because I've always put you first. I always worried about how you feel, how you're doing, what you need. Oh, you call me because something's wrong and you want to tell me what's going on. You want to tell me the problem. When I call you and about to tell you what my problem is, you shut my problem down because you want to tell me your problem. And then I listen to it because that's what I do. And sometimes when people sit up here and put their self first and be like, hey, I have to worry about me. I have to sit up here and make sure I'm good. Granted, I love you. I care about you, all these things. But I have to make sure I'm good because I'm not good. Nobody's good. And sometimes when you put yourself first, people feel like you're switching up because they're not the priority anymore.
And that's what you
They're
call
so
people
used to being
being
a priority.
selfish, right?
Yeah.
I don't like to use the overutilized, like people are narcissistic in terms of their personalities or narcissistic abusers, even though you do have some people who maneuver in that way, right? My whole
Mm-hmm.
thing is it becomes a, well, who's going to care about me if you don't?
Girl, you
Who's
put your
going to look,
California on for that, didn't you?
you know what I'm saying?
I
Who going to look out for me if you don't?
love me.
Me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's what people start to experience when they're like, you said no. And I realize this too. Once I say no, you're not going to explode. You ain't, did you die? Did you
No, you
die?
didn't.
You were okay. You
You
will
didn't.
figure it
But I tell
out.
you what happens. That's the key. Now you have to figure it out. That's it. That's what happens now. Once I tell
Sink or
you no,
swim.
you have to figure it out. And that's the part that scares people the most, the figuring it out. Because you wanted me to figure it out for you. You wanted me
Sink or swim.
to do it for you. And that's it.
Yep.
But hey,
But you
friend,
know,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it teaches people a lot about themselves. So I feel like we're doing right by people by saying no. Because now you learn how to support and do things for yourself in a new way. You learn to grow as an individual. I want you to have the same growth that I feel like I had to experience as a person to continue building as a person. So let these boundaries reinforce and teach you how to move.
Thanks. But hey, friend, I feel like it's time to send them out.
We about to send the people out. And as always, we tell the people out in our audience that we love y'all for free. And we do. This is a healing community that we've created here. So if you enjoy Who Woke the Savage, tell the people what to do and how to find this lady.
First of all, y'all can find us on YouTube, Miss Book, Lady A Savage, for highlights, reels, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, Lady A Savage, Miss Book. Make sure you like, comment, and make sure to subscribe to us. We want to hear y'all feedback. We want to know what y'all want to say to us. We want to know if y'all have any topics y'all want to hear. Let us know. Any savage questions, DM me personally. We want to interact with y'all so bad because it's not we in this together, yo.
We in this together. Like I said, to our royals, to our real ones, slide in the DMs, drop them comments in the comment section. We ain't scared and we don't bite.
And